Welcome to Logistics Unplugged. My name is Brian Blaylock, and I'm your host, and I'm happy to jump in today to all things logistics. So let's pull back the curtain, take a look under the hood, and have a great discussion. And today is a special episode where we're going to talk about stories in logistics and share a little bit of the crazy things that go on in our world and try to bring a little light to yours. And I got two very special guests in here with me today. One I've done this with a few times, and one this is the first time. So I'm going to start with my first timer here. Jackie Grimes, the supervisor in managed logistics, and loads of stories, and I'm looking forward to hearing them. But Jackie, welcome. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Brian.
Absolutely. And then no stranger to sitting down with me for some chats is Eric Chambers, the Vice President of LTL Services and Strategies at Blue Grace Logistics. And Eric, thank you, my friend, for being here.
Oh, always enjoy it, Brian. Thank you.
Absolutely. So let's kind of jump right in it. And there's no reason to tell logistics stories if we can't learn a little bit about your logistics stories. So I'm going to put you both on the spot a little bit. And Jackie, as our new entrant here, you get to be on the spot first. So tell me the Jackie story. Tell me how you got into logistics and give me a little bit of that history of how you got from there to here.
Oh, sure. Well, my story starts off with I didn't know anything about logistics at all. Just walked into a random office in Jacksonville and was like, I'm here for a job. Honestly, I thought that DOT meant drivers of trucks. So
you're ready to get behind the wheel.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
I didn't know anything, but I had a few key phrases and it just worked out that way.
So you had a cheat sheet.
I had a cheat husband.
And just so you know, husband, she doesn't mean it in the traditional sense.
Yeah, no, like a cheat code. He had given me a heads up on a few terms from the trucker standpoint, so I was able to use some words that I didn't know what they meant.
But you had a word.
But I knew the word. Yes.
That's a start.
And so back in 2012, when I started with Blue Grace, it was in a franchise and it was more smaller operations. We were full service, so we did everything from selling to booking to billing and just worked my way through all the different aspects that franchise had to offer, and then got the opportunity to move to Tampa and joined what is now considered managed logistics. And yeah, it's just been a wild ride since then.
I like it. And when you were talking about the husband giving you the driver's cheat sheet, does that mean he had some experience in that?
Yes. So he was a driver.
Okay.
He worked for a company out of Yulee, Florida, and they used to haul paper from the paper mill to different locations. So him and his dad both drove trucks when we first got together. So,
okay.
Yeah.
That used to be how I identified when I was coming up on Jacksonville, like a lot of people, you know when you're getting close to the paper mills there, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So
great place, and I guess I just stole that, and that's where the franchise was, right? It was in Jacksonville?
Yes, in Jacksonville.
Okay. All right, Eric, let's put you on the spot next. I know there's a minute or two in your story, so we'll see how far back you want to take it. But talk to me about how you got into the industry and a little bit of migrating your way to here.
Yeah, I've been doing it so long, it could take a week to do this. But we'll put it really quick.
I'll hit fast forward and see.
Yeah, I'm sure you will. But no, actually, I grew up in a family business. A big part of that business was school buses. The local school district basically contracted it out instead of owning their own buses.
Okay.
And my family's been doing it now. It's actually third generation going on.
Wow.
So with that said, I went to college. I was like most freshmen, don't know what I was going to do. So I said I'll go into engineering. Sounds kind of cool. And it didn't take me very long to realize that I don't have the kind of math ability to do that. So then I was like, okay, what am I going to do? But at the time, I was at Penn State, and they had a new logistics program. It was kind of new. That's how far back it goes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't well known. So I said, well, heck, I understand trucks. I understand moving. I understand fuel. So I'll do that. And
Perfect.
And that's how I got into it, graduated. And I liked to ski at the time. So I left Penn State, moved immediately to Denver, Colorado.
Of course you did.
So, of course, I wanted to ski. But I had to get a job. So
Dang
answered, and that's back when newspapers were around.
Yeah.
And I answered a blind ad, and it turned out to be a Roadway Express.
Okay.
This is 82 when I
Okay.
met with them and interviewed, was trying to get a job at the Denver facility. And of course, I got the call. It's like, well, there was two of you. We're taking both of you, but we need you to go to Colorado Springs. I was like, oh, great.
Okay.
Went down to Colorado Springs, spent a couple of years there, moved to Pueblo, Colorado to open up a facility for Roadway there. Had enough of that. Got a job with Yellow Freight at the time back in Colorado Springs. Ended up in Denver area again. 3 years there. Got to go into Cheyenne, Wyoming. It's like, hey, we're going to make you a sales guy, and we'll turn you, give you a promotion. Well, Cheyenne, Wyoming.
So it wasn't cold enough where you were at. They needed to see if they could get you a little further
They wanted to
north.
get more wind to get higher in the air. Yeah, at the elevation. It was like going back in time, 100 miles from Denver to Cheyenne to the point, and you swear you went through a time warp. Nothing against Cheyenne. It's just wide open spaces, but it was a big change. Did that for a little bit. Got to Salt Lake City for a couple of years with Yellow, and then they wanted me in the corporate office in Kansas City. Spent a couple of years there. Finagled away to get to Florida. Worked in Orlando with Yellow. And then that's where I met Mr. Harris,
Okay.
our CEO. And we needed somebody in Tampa, and I was in charge of sales for Florida. So went to one of my better customers, said he was good. And he said, this young guy.
Young fellow.
Young
huh?
fellow.
Okay.
Got him on board. So long story short, we stayed in touch, and I got different departments. I made a way to get him to join me. And then he actually left. He resigned from me to go start a company.
Did that tell you anything, Eric?
It told me, well, knowing what I know now, it was a big risk. But, yeah, I stayed in touch, and he let me join him. And at the time, it was
I like it.
a big risk. We'll just say startups are risky.
So we turned an Eric story, origin story, into a BG origin story.
Into a BG
I
origin
like that.
story. So I've been here since, it was 07 when I joined him.
Yeah.
And I've been, what is it, 25 now.
Yeah. Wow. That's incredible. That's a great story, Eric. And I think I've been working with you now for about the last 10 years or so. So you get to, that's like aging in dog years at the point. Once you start working with me, you feel like, I've been here for 70 more years since Brian got here. So thank you for
Since
sharing.
I met you, yes.
Yeah. Now I'm 192 years old. I feel great for me. Thanks for the share, guys, and thanks for that story. My story is pretty quick. I got into the industry by accident. I was in the technology side of the industry and mostly servicing the construction industry. We added transportation, so I flirted around with a company that had transportation for a little while as part of what I did in the previous job. And then when it came time to make a change, all the people in my seat were being moved to Portland, Oregon. Nothing against Portland, Oregon, but I like the sunny state of Florida. And I said no, and my non-compete touched construction but didn't touch logistics. And I looked up that previous company that I'd had some experience with, and Blue Grace popped up on the screen. And I said, oh, that's 0.6 of a mile away from my house. So happy accident, best decision I ever made 10 years later. Get to sit down with great folks like you and tell funny stories. So now we're ready for the funny stories. So
All right.
everybody got your ramp up ready to go. Let's talk logistics. We know strange things happen. And before we get to the funny, maybe it's okay to touch some of the challenging. Tell me some of the unique things, challenging things that you've dealt with in the industry. And I'll let you guys go, whoever feels ready to go first. Who's got a story for me?
Well, Jackie, I'll take one. Yeah, we live in Florida, and we're quite used to hurricanes.
Absolutely.
And this wasn't too long ago. We got hit with several of them. And we have a client that was highly frustrated because the shipment was delayed out of Texas coming in. And, of course, let me look into this. And I-10 had been shut down for about a week, maybe not that long, but the shipment was picked up the day the hurricanes were hitting Florida and the Louisiana area. Interstate 10 was shut down. So I called the customer back, and I just like, ma'am, you do know that there was a hurricane that went through. Well, yeah, but that shouldn't stop anything.
Of course not.
No, the
'cause
truck came
trucks
out
can
of
fly.
Texas. Truck came out of Texas. I said, yeah, but I-10's been shut down. for several days. Well, couldn't they go around? Ma'am, it would take longer to go around the weather than to just sit and wait. And that just baffled me. Because
Yeah.
those of us that are here in Florida know these things are going to happen.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
you should be used to it. So that challenging, frustrating, whatever you want to call it, that's the
So she
reality
thought
we
a
deal with.
normal 1,500-mile drive out of the way should be no problem to bring the freight in right on time.
Yeah.
But did you get it here right on time, Eric?
Not that one. Matter of fact, no, I don't want to go into it because it got worse.
Uh-oh. Worse before it gets better.
The Murphy's Law kicked
Yeah.
in.
Well, I think sometimes people do forget that human beings drive trucks, human beings load trucks, and then sometimes things that aren't human get in between the people that drive and load those trucks and the end of that transportation and delivery. And all that we can do is try to manage that chaos as best we possibly can. So yeah, hurricanes can definitely add a level of difficulty to it. So Jackie, your turn, stepping up to the plate.
So logistics comes in all shapes and forms, and so does freight.
Absolutely.
I think my biggest shipment challenge that I've ever had in my career was we had a customer who was importing a decorative fence installment from Canada into North Dakota.
Okay.
And the manufacturer who made this decorative fence installment was just like a person. It wasn't like a big company.
Sure.
And so they made the fence installment, they packaged it, they shipped it, they immediately went on a 2-week sabbatical. Out of touch. Could not get in touch with them. Well, this was going across the border, and so it requires paperwork, and that paperwork was not filled out properly.
Uh-oh.
The fence installment was not for the company that was bringing it in. It was for the owner of the company's personal home.
Okay.
And he wanted his fence decorated. He did not understand why it was sitting at the border for a long time, because this person who was on a 2-week sabbatical wasn't filling out the paperwork properly. It was actually my very first shipment for this customer.
Of course. Always the first.
And they were not a new customer to our company, but they were a new customer to me. And so everybody that has C's in their title was involved, saying, we need to get this, we need to get this. I'm Google researching how do you clear freight without customs invoices and all these things.
Not a long list of answers on that, was there, Jackie?
It definitely wasn't. It definitely took us out of our comfort zone. To be honest, at the end of the day, the freight's value was in Canadian dollars, and once you converted it to U.S. dollars, it actually didn't need customs clearance. So it was delayed there just because we couldn't get the information because they were on a 2-week sabbatical through Canada. It was crazy. We were able to recover. That customer's still with us today. So
nice. Okay. Well, I am glad the sabbatical ended and that you got the information that you needed to know that it was not as much money as you thought it was. Right.
So, I mean, it did come with a lesson. Now knowing when you import things under a certain value, they don't need customs clearance.
Yeah. Good to know. Yeah. All right, so we got some of the normal, and we'll go through that. I don't really have a lot of normal. None of my stories turn out all that normal. So we'll save that for the part B. But we know that we have people that listen in, and we want to put a little light in their day. So I want to talk about some of the interesting or nutty or crazy or weird or funny things that we've seen along the way. Eric, I'm going to switch back over to you, my friend. We're gonna put you on the spot and hear some stories.
This goes way back when I was in Colorado Springs, working with Roadway Express, and things were done differently there. Mm-hmm. And actually in the industry, not just them. But, the idea of getting customers out of the office and doing the lunches and a little bit of entertainment, things like that were fun. And I talked the company into getting season tickets to the Air Force Academy which is
Okay.
based right there in Colorado
Yeah.
Springs. I had 6 season tickets for the football games, and it was great to take customers to. And one time for one of the larger ones, we rented a limo, group of us, go on up to the stadium. It's a beautiful place. If you've never been there, you
Yeah.
got to go check it out. But we had to make sure everybody knew that, 5 seats are for people. 1 seat was for the cooler.
Oh, wow. There you go.
Back then, rules weren't real strict.
Okay.
It was a 48-quart cooler.
Did you have
Took
to
two of
buy
us-
the seat for the cooler?
Yeah, we had no room to put it anywhere else.
Okay. Yeah.
And
Fair enough.
we were like, it took 2 of us to get it in. And the Air Force Academy was great. It's like, no, you didn't open up and show anything. They didn't ask you to
As long as you
open
didn't
up
see it.
anything. No, they just like, go on in. You have your ticket. And we would sit there and it was hilarious.
Yeah, there you go. Hey, listen, sometimes logistics comes in all types of forms. So that might have been more of an expedite with Eric and and his team doing that final step delivery to get that up the steps. So.
It got lighter on the way down.
Dig a little lighter on the way,
yeah.
a little easier going out than coming in.
Oh, much easier.
Yeah, speaking of Colorado Springs, I'll give a quick shout out. My best buddy Shane's his birthday today. Went to Sierra High School in Colorado Springs, Colorado. So
Excellent.
interesting. There you go. No one else in the world cares about that, but I thought I'd throw it in anyway.
Shane
Jackie.
cares.
Shane cares. All right. So Jackie, this one's on you. I could play that Jeopardy music if it makes you feel less pressure. Dun, dun,
I don't
dun,
know if
dun.
that's less pressure. Honestly, I was so enjoying Eric's story that I forgot the question.
Are you
Brian.
sure you weren't reaching into Eric's cooler? I think we were talking funny
my-
stories, interesting stories, and logistics.
I think that the most interesting story, I'm not sure if I found it funny, but
It's always a good start.
interesting. I think it goes back to hurricanes. So a couple years ago, we had a massive hurricane coming to Tampa, and ML came up with this idea that they were going to send a bunch of people to Orlando to run the operations in case we lost power here in Tampa. And so this is less about freight and more about the logistics of people. So we had a group of what we deemed hurricane runner-awayers. And
Is that the technical name?
It's a new term, yeah.
yeah.
We're going to put that right in the old dictionary for next year.
And it was probably like 10 or so, ranging from different titles within the managed logistics, and they all went to Orlando. And we discovered that hotel Wi-Fi is not the same as business
Yeah.
Wi-Fi. And in fact, the hurricane shifted at the last moment, and Orlando got it worse than Tampa did.
So you guys relocated to the eye of the storm.
Yes.
Perfect.
And someone lost a car to a tree.
Ooh.
And so, in fact, those people were out of work for like 3 days while we were all here chilling in the AC.
So you were back in the storm you're running away from and
Yes,
back to
yes.
normal.
So I think that's the best story I have.
Yeah, it is interesting. Logistics isn't just the folks that we owe so much to that are behind the wheel of that truck. It is all the bits and pieces that have to be in place to make things go, and it is interesting. And I'll share with you one stupid story that I had someone call on me the other day. I'm in a department that works with partnering with other companies, whether it be for technology or other resources, and I think the individual that scheduled the call with me is a bit of an entrepreneur and has multiple businesses and forgot which business he was calling on me about. So I had someone that originally was calling on me to talk to me about technology that they were using that could help with integrations and other pieces. I won't go into a lot of detail because I don't want to accidentally tell on him. But he also sold pre-need funeral cemetery services, and he thought that he had scheduled an appointment with me to talk about that. And I was really questioning a lot of my life choices as he was going through his pitch. But so I got a pitch on pre-need cemetery and funeral services from someone who thought he was selling me technology to Blue Grace Logistics. So
Well, you can never be too prepared.
you can
Brian.
never be too. So anyway, so I bought 4. I don't know why I did that. I feel like I might be a great customer. I'm easily sold. But yeah, that's. We work in an interesting world where we touch a lot of different things from a lot of different areas. And I know, Jackie, you and I were talking the other day, and you were telling me a story about a driver on a particular load. You feel comfortable going down that road?
Sure.
I'm air quoting road with me.
So my way back doesn't go as far back as Eric's, but
No judgment, Eric.
I hope not.
So early on in my career with Blue Grace, when I was still doing the sales side, had a customer who was shipping a full truckload from Florida up north, and the driver ran out of hours in Atlanta, Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
And so he parked his truck at a Burger King and went off to enjoy his off time. And during that off time, his 10 hours turned into a week.
Oh, my word.
Yep. He went on a Atlanta bender, and we lost all touch with him. Our customers like, what do you mean? You don't know where our freight is. This was before all the fancy technology where
no tracking.
The trucks are have GPS on them. So we just know where the driver was last, and we were working from there. And he was not an owner-operator, so he did not own the truck. He was just a driver. So we ended up having to get the police involved, filing like it was stolen, but it wasn't stolen. It was all the time at this Burger King in Atlanta, Georgia. And the owner of the truck ended up having to fly to Atlanta to drive to the truck's last known location, and got in the truck and finished it on its way to its final destination. And 2-3 days later, the driver shows up at this Burger King looking for his truck. And he's like, oh no, the truck's been stolen.
Oh, my word.
So he calls us to tell us, hey, this freight's been stolen. I just got back to the truck. And we had to break the news, sir, we think you need to contact the owner of your company because you guys got some things to talk about.
And you probably don't work there anymore.
He definitely did not. If we can go by the words that were used on the conversation.
Should I start making my beep sound now?
So it was definitely a interesting ordeal. I did not ever start that day planning on having to call the cops and hear this wild story about a bender in Atlanta. So
yeah, well, hey, listen, that goes back to what we said earlier, right? That humans still drive these things, and humans still load them, and when you put a human in the middle of anything, something can happen, right? And
Absolutely.
That's how we wind up with these interesting stories from the industry. What's funny is I can remember before I was in our industry at all, I used to travel a good bit when I was. You see, and I are close enough in age that he can relate to where I was in the days that you didn't have cell phones and everything else. I was at a truck stop at 11:30 at night having a meal, and I was sitting beside another guy, and I was talking about all the places I'd been. He was talking about all the places he'd been, and I must have somehow put miles on it so he knew how many miles I'd driven. He's like, how'd you get away with doing that? I says, what are you talking about, get away with doing that? So apparently I had driven more while doing my normal job, which was going around at that time trying to sell people stuff, than he had done on the road as a driver. So that really made me evaluate my choices. So listen, I know that people give us their time, and we took a nice little chunk of it today to have a little fun. And I can't tell you how much I appreciate the both of you coming in, giving me some of your time today to share some of your stories. We hope the listeners enjoyed it, and we'll see you next time. That's a wrap for Logistics Unplugged.